This chapter opens up with an intriguing phrase, when 2 full years had passed. Why does it say full years? 2 years is 2 years, isn't it? Well, it is deliberately drawing your attention to how long 2 years can feel when you're waiting for something to happen. It gives you a sense of how long it must have felt to Joseph. We could perhaps read it as, when 2 long years had passed, Pharaoh had a dream. Can you imagine the expectation that Joseph must have felt in his heart for the few days after seeing the cupbearer restored to his old position? Can you imagine him looking up in eager expectation every time he hears the jail door swing open? Maybe this is the guard who will come and collect me. Can you imagine how day after day, week after week, month after month, and indeed year after year, no one came to rescue him? How utterly crushing must that have been for Joseph? And yet, while it may break his heart, it does not break his hope. And we'll see that in just a moment. Despite his repeated mistreatment and neglect at the hands of others, Joseph trusts in God. He is a wonderful example to us. So, 2 full years later, Pharaoh had a dream. In fact, he had 2. In the first dream, 7 healthy cows were coming up out of the Nile, and then after them, 7 feeble, ugly, gaunt-looking cows. And then the sickly ones, they eat up the healthy ones, but they seem no better off because of it. Then in the second dream, there was a single stalk growing out of the ground, which had 7 good, strong, healthy ears of corn growing from it, and then 7 sickly ears of corn, or heads of grain, that devoured the healthy ones. And then we read, Pharaoh woke up. It had been a dream. Another phrase that is kind of full of meaning, isn't it? Like the baker and the cupbearer back in the prison, clearly, along with this dream, they were given the sense that it had a deeper meaning. Pharaoh's mind was troubled because of the dream, so he sent for all of the magicians and the wise men in Egypt. Pharaoh told them his dreams, but no one could interpret them for him. Well, now at last, the chief cupbearer remembers Joseph. Now at last, he recommends him to Pharaoh, and now Pharaoh has no choice but to send for Joseph. This is simply his last remaining hope. Verse 15, look at this first interaction between Joseph and the most powerful man on the planet. Pharaoh said to Joseph, I had a dream, and no one can interpret it, but I've heard it said of you that when you hear a dream, you can interpret it. Look at Joseph's response. I think this is jaw-dropping. I cannot do it, Joseph replied. What? Why start with those words, Joseph? Can you imagine Pharaoh's eyebrows disappearing into his hairline? You imagine the cupbearer fainting in the corner. Goodness me. If Pharaoh had the temperament that King Saul has later in the Bible, there would have been a spear halfway across the room by now. What do you mean you can't do it? I've summoned you from prison for this? But, he continues, my God can. Amazing that he would go to such lengths to give God the honor and the credit and the glory even after all that he's been through. You know, most Christians would turn their back on God for less, but Joseph doesn't. How old was Joseph at the start of our story? Genesis 37 verse 2 says he was 17 when he was sold into slavery. How old is he now? Genesis 41:46, Joseph was 30 years old when he entered the service of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And so for 13 long years, 13 full years, he has been the recipient of just savage injustice. And yet, the first thing he does when he opens his mouth is give God the glory. I can't do anything, Joseph says, but God could do all things. I don't know anything, Joseph says, but God knows all things. And so God honors Joseph beyond his wildest dreams, giving Joseph the correct interpretation. In response, Pharaoh says, since God has made all this known to you, there is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all my people are to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you. Amazing, hey? You know, I'm convinced of this. You may not see God's grand plan unfold to its fullest extent in your lifetime, God's scale, God's timeline is far too big for us to see everything that he's doing. But I am convinced of this. One day you will look back on your life from the realms of glory, and you will never regret having trusted God through thick and thin. You will never look back and say, I think I trusted God too much, or I gave him too much glory, or I promoted him too much before others. If you make up your mind to trust God and tell others of his goodness, then in the end you will always be glad that you did. As Jesus says in Matthew 10, "Whoever acknowledges me before others, I will also acknowledge before my Father in heaven." And there is no greater honor that could be bestowed upon us in all the world than that.